Hey guys, it's Jay-Sensei again. This shouldn't be what Takemichi could see 5 minutes into the future. Now, in this one, Takemichi, this 5 minutes in the future thing would kick in like once he travels back to the past for the first time. I'll go over that now. Everything goes the same when Takemichi would wake up in the past. So in the past, he starts to realize everything's the same. Everything goes the same up until the fight with Kiyomasa. Now, as they're looking for the second years, they do find the third years, and as Kiyomasa busy trash talking them and sort of his posse, there'll be enough time for Takemichi to actually see the future for the first time in 5 minutes. And he sees Aku about to be punched in the face by Kiyomasa. He turns around to question them should they fight or run. Now he waits for that moment, up until Aku turns his head for the first time. He also cocks back his fist, ready to catch Aku off guard, but then Takemichi would pick up a ball of sand, throwing Kiyomasa's eyes, and punch him right in the groin. With that, he then says sneaky attacks aren't fun, are they? But suddenly Kiyomasa will punch him in the face, sending him flying back, and Aku says thanks Takemichi. He jumps on Kiyomasa and begins punching him in the face until his fists are covered in blood. Now, Takemichi is able to get back up, and for the brief moment, he can see 5 minutes for each person that his friends are fighting. Takemichi with that is able to tell him, we'll kind of just wait. He's able to kind of just distract all the guys up until the moments happen. With that, he tells his friends to dodge, go this way, go that way, do this. When he does that, instantly, Kiyomasa dies on the ground, beaten up, and his friends are equally beaten up. Well, except for Kiyomasa, he's lying in a puddle of his own blood due to Akun. But Akun's able to double team up on the guy that was with Takuya, because Takuya is quote-unquote very frail. With that done, Takemichi just chuckles, saying, "So, do we win? You guys to tell that I was coaching my friends on how to beat you." Kiyomasa's group, saying Kiyomasa is unconscious, and probably going to die if he doesn't get set up properly. They say, all right, you guys win, we'll leave. They drag Kiyomasa away to the hospital, because it looks like he's choking on his own blood. First, they can just get the blood out of his throat and stuff, and then, yeah, this helps. His friends thank him, asking how did he know what to do, and he just says that the fighting styles are pretty basic. It's just basic than street fights you can see in movies. Friends chuckle, saying, "So that's really it, just movies?" He would nod, and then like, all right, well, do you want to go get burgers with us for a celebration? And he says no, he's going to hang out with his girlfriend. And Takemichi to the side, saying, thank God slang from 2018 isn't here. Because he feels a few select words would have been said to him. But yeah, now, Takemichi goes to Hina, that goes the exact same way, it's just he's not as beaten up. And she asks, was he in a fight? And he says, yeah, we won by a landslide. He laughs, hugging him, saying, good job. Really weak second years? He says, nope, pretty strong third years, actually. Now, Hina actually wants every single detail in the fight, and he gives her every single detail. Eventually, he's leaving Hina's house, and he's now being beaten up. Now, with this, Takemichi would suddenly see the future, and he's actually in the future as an adult. But he's talking to someone. But he just disregards it. Think of it as something he sees later in life, not just the regular 5 minutes that he's used to. He hasn't really thought of it as 5 minutes, he just thought it was just some coincidence. He hasn't known 5 minutes, actually. Takemichi just runs at one of the kids, bullying that one boy, punches one of them in the face, then punches the other one in the face, and kicks the other one to the ground. Those kids run off as Takemichi holds a broken bottle to one of them, and as one to run off, he talks to the boy, realizing it as Naoto. When he starts thinking about Naoto's face, and realizes the future thing that he's thinking of, well, that's Naoto's face just as an adult. He's a little confused, but as he's thinking about Naoto, he tells him when he's going to die, shakes hands, and leaves. He's leaving, goes back to the future, and then he's able to see the conversation he's going to have with Naoto again. Oh, I get it now. Him and Naoto talking, and when everything goes the same until Naoto asks Takemichi, they remember how he travels back in time. Takemichi would first go over his 5 minutes, talking about 5 minutes forward in time, and he says is that, well, if he's able to use it to change the future quite a lot, as he says one of the first fights he was in, and that it was a losing one, he actually was able to make it a win. And he points out he's able to see this conversation. And the conversation happen. And then says he also probably confirmed that he travels back here via handshake with Kid Naoto. Naoto would say, alright then, well, do you have anything else to talk about besides my plan? And he says, nope, not really. So now, everything goes the exact same way. Takemichi's starting to notice that he can't use 5 minutes forward in time thing. Instead, in the future, it's reduced to 5 seconds. With that, Takemichi is able to reduce the amount of time he has to study things. He's able to read what he's going to read in the future, gets the same thoughts and everything. That reduces the 2 days to a day and a half, plus getting more information than he needed. He gets all the way up to Baji's death and the whole Valhalla incident. Now, he does shake hands with Naoto again, and goes back to the past. Because in the past, he's hanging out with his friends, and they're now known as the best delinquent group in their area. With that, suddenly, it's like the first day of the Fight Club, Takemichi's running it. Due to him, Akun gave the victory to Takemichi, saying that he's the one that will weaken Kiyomasa the most, because same with eyes, then a very strong punch to the testicular area was able to call in a victory. So Takemichi is now the leader of Mizo Middle, and he's able to actually run the fight clubs. Now, I keep Draken arrive first because the strong delinquents in this area are here, and they see Kiyomasa in the middle of a fight. They think that it's Kiyomasa, as they interrupt Kiyomasa's fight as he bows. Takemichi does recognize Mikey as Sano immediately after studying for a minute because he's just watching from a different area. But immediately he bows, telling his friends to. They do. Well, Yamagishi and Suzuki already were, but Takuya and Akun weren't. But Takemichi eventually bows. Akun and Suzuki bow. Not Suzuki. Akun and Takuya bow themselves, and they ask Kiyomasa if he's the one running the fights, and is he the one that they call the strongest delinquent in this area? He says no, he's not. He was defeated recently. They ask who he is, and they point up to Hanagaki and Akun. They walk Takemichi, seeing him as Mikey's height, and Mikey says, does Takemichi know any martial arts? Is he just strong? And Takemichi says, well, he's actually just pretty good at reading fighting styles. If he can read your moves, you're gonna lose. It's pretty easy. He's able to see what he's doing. But he says he can read attacks and movements, and then know what to do right after. Mikey thinks it's very impressive, and then Takemichi would suddenly get a glimpse of the 5 minutes in the future, and see him in a fight with Mikey, having the hell beat out of him. And Mikey says, fight me. Takemichi says no. Mikey sees it as a market. Well, first, he sees it as Takemichi being a coward, so he decided to ignore it, and tried to punch Takemichi in the face. Takemichi decided to avoid all conflict, so when he saw Mikey's fist, he cocked back, he jumped back, and picked up a ball of sand, throwing it at Mikey. Mikey moved, but until he saw a rock get set flying right at his forehead. As it hit him, he jumped back and said, ow, damn it, that hurt. Then he was able to avoid Mikey for a full 5 minutes. He saw the kick that Mikey was going to do, the roundhouse. With that, Takemichi was able to dodge it. It grabbed the back of Mikey's pants, and hit Mikey across the face, and hold Mikey in place by holding his dominant leg there. He's punching Mikey in the face until Draken pulls him apart. Mikey rubbed over his cheek as Takemichi was obviously nervous, because he had beat up Sano. Mikey laughed, saying, so you really can read my attacks. You saw that coming a mile away. And Takemichi nodded, saying, yeah, it's kind of obvious. That was a roundhouse kick, wasn't it? Mikey nodded, and with that, he holds out his hand, saying, join Toman. We could use the strongest delinquent in our group. Takemichi froze, saying, wait, really? Mikey nodded, saying, yep. Kenshin, did you think so? Draken actually being pissed off about to kill Takemichi for beating up Mikey by holding him in place. He wasn't really too keen on it, but he's like, he's strong and can read attacks. He'd be a pretty good benefit, so sure. Takemichi nodded, saying, alright then. Now, he shakes Mikey's hand. Before he does, he says, can my friends join? Then points to Yamagishi, saying, he's a big benefit. He's a big benefit. We call him Gangopedia. And then they think Mikey laughs, saying, alright then, sure. Yamagishi then starts crying, saying, Takemichi, you bastard, we love you. As he hugs Takemichi for helping him join Toman. And now, Takemichi is now officially in Toman. Now, next day, Takemichi is at school with his friends, and Mikey and Draken appear, and want to bring Takemichi to Mitsuya. Now, Hina thinks Mikey is actually intimidating Takemichi into going, and when she's about to just try to interrupt him, Hina was yelling at Mikey. Takemichi, we see 5 minutes in the future of Hina still yelling, and slaps Mikey. So he waits for it to be over until she goes to slap, and he catches her hand saying, Hina, don't worry, these are my friends. And she sees that Takemichi isn't afraid at all. He's just telling the truth. He's saying, oh, really? I'm sorry about my outburst. And she says, no problem. He's happy that she cares. And Gishi and just meets Mitsuya say hi. Then they go to Mitsuya. They get to Mitsuya. Mitsuya would ask who they are, like who's middle plus Takemichi, and he asks where Kiyomasa is. And like he says, turns out Kiyomasa wasn't from delinquent. It was him. He's with Takemichi and Akun, saying, well, kind of them, their package deal. And Mitsuya asks what's so special about them. He's a little curious, that's all. He's not being rude or anything, just curious. And says Takemichi can read fighting styles like a book. He was able to read Mikey's, and caught Mikey off guard and was able to beat him to the point where he was spitting up blood. Mitsuya thought Takemichi was pretty amazing, saying, "Alright, give me your jacket, your school jacket or your shirt, and then I can make you a jacket for Toman jacket." His friend then looks at his friend saying, "You guys are someone part of the package?" They nod, and he gets all the measurements and everything. And he asks Hina, "Is she part of it?" She says no, but Takemichi says he thinks it'd be cool if Hina got a Toman jacket. It's like a souvenir. But instead of getting it, that says Toman, it just says Hina. Kind of struggles, thinking that is cute. And Mitsu's like, well, she's not part of Toman, I'm not going to make her a jacket. Takemichi pulls out his wallet, giving Mitsu the whole thing, minus like a few coupons and cards, saying, "Alright, here." Mitsu says, "Alright, this will work." Take the money, gives the wallet back to Takemichi, and I'm going to wait till the next day. Next day, they get everything they wanted, the jacket from Mitsuya and everything, and Takemichi was on his jacket. Let me pause real quick. So Takemichi's jacket, anyways, that there's some stitching or kanji on the side of it that isn't on any of his friends. He reads it, and then it says Chrono. Aki says, he threw in a little bit of money for me to put that on there. Takemichi's confused, so he thinks of Chronos, and then says, "Oh, like the time thing?" Like he would not say, "Yep." So Takemichi says, "Alright then, well, cool." Puts on the jacket, and now he doesn't wear that, so he doesn't wear a school jacket, he just wears the Toman jacket. And his friends, there was a little small stitching of kanji that does say package. It's like just like a joke saying that they couldn't get the Toman by themselves, they had to use their leader. Akun's jacket doesn't have that. It just says that Akun Takemichi package deal. His friend just came along with it as a buy one get one free kind of thing. Like buy two get these free. That's kind of what his friends were. Then Hina's just says beautiful on the side because Takemichi paid for that as well. Now Hina and Takemichi go on a date that day. Takemichi wears his Toman jacket around his waist and everything. Now with that, Mikey asks Takemichi and Hina about to go on a date. Mikey kind of sneakily suggests that Emma and Draken should go on a double date with them. Hina says that she'd love it if she got to know the females of Toman, and Draken and Hina and Mikey and not Mikey but Draken and Hina talk for a bit to get to know Emma. Well, Hina gets to know Emma. Takemichi is setting up a reservation for the date. And then now everything eventually does come around as they got like a lunch date kind of thing. Emma and Takemichi get along pretty well. Draken and Takemichi get along pretty well, and they're pretty good friends. They're pretty good friends for the end of the day. But now the firework festival thing. Not like the Mobius, but just fireworks, that whole thing where Takemichi accidentally holds Naoto's hand. But after the date, fireworks happen, Takemichi accidentally holds Naoto's hand, and then goes back to the future. Pause real quick. Alright, so, where was I? Takemichi back to the future, and I guess Takemichi had back to the future, accidentally holding Naoto's hand, and he meets up with adult Atsushi, or adult Akun. This one, Akun is a little more, not as fearful, and obviously a little more muscular. This one, Takemichi asks when Akun got so buff, and Akun then says, once Akun was more of a fighter, he started getting just stronger and stronger, and here we are. Takemichi thought that was pretty cool, and says, first off, he didn't notice himself got a little more muscular. He has a decent definition, like kind of like how Draken looked in like the whole bathhouse scene. So that's kind of what adult Takemichi looks like, just not as tall, but still pretty decently toned. Well, Akun is more like a mucho kind of build at this point. But yeah, so Akun still has kill himself. Sadly, Takemichi goes back to the past again after learning about the whole Mobius incident and learning a bit about Osanai. This one, he's called to a Toman meeting, but he doesn't wake up with Emma on top of him. He doesn't, because this time him and Emma are actually good friends. They know each other. So this one, him and Emma are kind of just hanging out. Takemichi offered to Emma ice cream while he's always waiting for Hina. And he did buy one for Hina, just he wanted to trick her. So when Hina arrives, she sees Takemichi and Takemichi and Emma having ice cream. A little upset, thinking that Takemichi is being rude and inconsiderate, really threw her favorite ice cream. Caught it and happily ate it, forgiving Takemichi immediately. Now the Toman meeting will start as Mikey did invite Takemichi still, and Mizo Middle had arrived. Then Takemichi with two girls, one of them especially being kind of busty. Now Suzuki immediately tried to hit on her, saying her as not Takemichi's girlfriend. As he's hitting on her, suddenly Takemichi would say, "Oh yeah, this is Draken's girlfriend, by the way." Suzuki immediately froze, holding his groin, saying, Draken's gonna murder me, he's gonna murder me, he's gonna murder me. Everyone says, "No, he won't. I won't tell if you guys all give me, like, let's say, I'm gonna use dollars, say, you guys don't give me $10 each." They say the friend they all give Emma $10 each. So it'd be Akun, Namichi, Yamamoto, and Suzuki. So, $40. They pay her that money, and they also started punching Suzuki in the arm. So yeah, that's when the meeting starts, and no one is questioning Mizo Middle because they all someone jackets. I don't question Hina because Hina's wearing one around her waist. Her dad didn't think of it as like Hina being part of Toman. She says boyfriend's part of Toman, and he got her a similar jacket to it. It says this on it. His dad kind of thought that was kind of weird that Toman, like gang members being thoughtful. He thought it was weird. We kind of thought her boyfriend was an imposter. But yeah, now the meeting starts. That's Takemichi will be sitting down until suddenly all Mizo Middle is yanked away by 3rd Division and start being like, "Oh yeah, you guys beat up Masataka and his group." And Takemichi says, "Well, since we beat up Masataka, you guys should be easy work." That instantly infuriated Pachin as he cocked back his fist and went to punch down Takemichi. Takemichi means able to dodge his punch, and saw 5 minutes in the future, seeing him being jumped on by Pachin and Payon. Now he was able to block a lot of the strikes, and eventually he's able to hold off for those 5 minutes until Payon went for a punch from behind. Takemichi dodged by elbowing Payon right in the abdomen, and uppercutting him in the chin. As with that, Pachin was kind of stunned until Akun and Suzuki tackled him, one going for the legs and one going for his upper body. With that, Pachin on the ground, and they kind of heard the scuffling going on. They saw some of the 3rd Division pretty beaten up, while Dishi and Yamamoto were being beaten half to death, while Pachin and Payon were being double teamed. Well, not Pachin, not Payon, because he's being stopped on by Takemichi. And they kind of saw Takemichi and his group were a little more beaten up, and they know Mikey can tell Takemichi isn't really a confrontational type, so Mikey walks up saying, "Pachin, why'd you try to fight?" Pachin then says, "What? I didn't start this, but these little bastards did." And Mikey says, "Takemichi isn't that much of a fighter unless someone's fighting him first, so you started it." Pachin realized he was caught, saying, "Alright, damn it, I did. So what about it? You gotta remember, Toman, they're weak." Mikey then stands up saying, "Alright, well, so you guys think they're weak? I'll tell you how I first met him." So telling him how he met Takemichi and how he was just running a fight club that he took over from Kiyomasa, and then Mikey went and challenged his skill. Now they got it a bit by Takemichi blocking all Mikey's attacks, until eventually he was able to catch Mikey's leg, hold him in place, and beat him. So what everyone got was that Takemichi's able to read even the invincible Mikey's moves and take out the invincible. So they're pretty impressed as they actually apologize, and Pachin bows as well, so Payon. Now Baji's pretty interested in Takemichi, and Takemichi's body kind of reacts to a possible threat, but also just high emotion. That's how he gets the 5 minutes. Sorry, my nose was thrown up, but yeah. So his body kind of reacts to Baji's intent, and he sees the 5 minutes of Baji rushing at him, trying to punch him in the back of the head. So Takemichi kind of just waits for it, and by the time he counts 5 minutes, he only turns around dodging and punches Baji right in the gut. Baji begins coughing, saying, "Damn, that kid packs a punch." And everyone's like, Takemichi ain't looking at Baji just jumped at him. And Mikey then says, "Told you, he's strong." And so this one, Baji realizes that someone's holding him in place, and suddenly, Akun punches Baji right in the face, and him falling down the stairs. And then Akun says, "Mess with our leader, you mess with us." And Baji realizes he's bleeding from his nose and his mouth just from that one punch. And says, he doesn't seem to be stronger than him. I'll let that pass. Akun says, "You don't have a choice." Takemichi and Akun just start, Takemichi just slaps Akun back the head saying, sorry about him. You apologize to Baji, and Mikey then says they need to be assigned to a division as well. And Baji and Mitsumi step up saying, my division. They begin arguing until Chifuyu and Hakai begin joining in, and Hakai actually starts making a little more convincing points other than Baji wants to fight Takemichi again sometime. So Hakai is the one Hakai needs to bring more convincing points, so they're put in Mitsuya's division. Now Takemichi would say hi to Hakai and Mitsuya, and quickly him and Hakai are really good friends. Hina and Emma are having their girl talk and stuff, but I'm gonna pause real quick. Alright, but yeah, the meeting ends, and then they start talking. Well, first, before the meeting ends, they talk about Pachin's bud and everything and how they're gonna go to war with Mobius. Takemichi's a little nervous because he's kind of like worrying about the setup of Draken and Body's death because he was able to think about them. So he's like, okay, so he just mentioned something like, well, if we're gonna go to war, shouldn't we plot out some plans? Because Mobius is a big gang and they're older kids. So, undoubtedly, a lot of us will be beaten probably to death, or some of us will be. Not a lot of us. Some of us could be beaten to death, or we could just be heavily outnumbered and lose the war just through sheer numbers and strength. Pachin grabs Takemichi by his shirt and says, I'll kill you. I'll kill you if you think that someone's going to lose. And he's shaking Takemichi until suddenly someone kicks him right in the groin. That being Yamamoto, as Pachin falls to one knee, he's kicked in the face by Takuya again. As Takuya, he starts thinking, well, his whole thought process is he's a member of Toman, and that, well, he's a member of Toman now. He can't be weak. One of his friends he thought was weak got strong really fast. He needs to be the same way. Starting with that, his frail body had gained an iron will. As Pachin falls on his back, Takuya grabbed him by the collar of his shirt and shaking him, saying, you leave Hanagaki alone. He is my leader. You will not mess with him. Now, suddenly, Paimon steps up again, but he's held back by most of Mizo Middle. Tries to overpower them, that is him having one leg kicked right out from under him, which did catch him off guard, and now it's a lot easier to restrain him. Now Mizo Middle is starting to dominate. As Takemichi kind of happy that his friends are starting dominance, so he's like, alright, chill out. We're new here, we can't go start in trouble, we're gonna get beaten up and kicked out. Friends just let Paimon and Pachin go, and they line back up. Mikey says, since Takemichi's new, we'll let this pass. We gotta say that, so the thing Toman would lose isn't off to a good start. But Takemichi does say that, his points weren't wrong, were they? And Draken then says, Takemichi's point there, everything he says was true, we need a plan. So he starts thinking, saying, Takemichi, you called the kid in the glasses Gengopedia. What do you know about Mobius? Gishi goes over the estimated numbers being at around 200, and talks about everything that he knows. With that, they're starting to plan with the smartest parts of Toman doing it. Mainly the 5th Division and 2nd Division. I assume this is probably the smartest divisions, because every other division is more like a battle division. Draken starts including this conversation. Mikey has to listen, because, every division has to listen, but 2nd Division, 5th Division, and Draken are making the plans. So mainly just Takemichi, which is smart to bring to Toman, so I'm going to give this to basically Mitsuya, Draken, Chifuyu, Mucho, and Sanzu. These are the guys that are making the plans. Takemichi is thinking, and when he sees people speaking 5 minutes ahead, because he does think of it sometimes, he tries to trigger it, which is just really strong emotion. His concentration and needs trigger 5 minutes at times. So he's like, before someone says something, he says what they're going to say, and he doesn't even think about what they're going to say next. So Takemichi's just making some points, and is able to think about what he just said and find validation in it and the good parts of it. So Takemichi's slowly getting smarter. So with that, the plan is made, and it's all set. Takemichi is just walking home with Hina, and when he walks her home, when the door opens, Hina's father is there because he had heard Hina was out with her boyfriend. When he opens the door, Takemichi would bow, saying it's nice to meet you, sir. And he had kind of worried his father was home because he had said her dad might be home because he saw the jacket and kind of worried. So his father would say to Takemichi, ask Takemichi who he is, about his grades and everything. Takemichi said he's an average student, his grades are pretty average, everything pretty average about him. And Takemichi then actually offers them just here's a bouquet of flowers for your wife, she's pretty nice to me the other day. Then offers the dad some donuts. This is a cop joke, and he and his father can acknowledge it's a cop joke, and a pretty funny one and delicious one. Toko's saying, you're gonna pass this time. See you later, Hanagaki. The door shuts, and Takemichi, she just knocks again, and asks us to talk to Naoto for a second. That's what Kurisa agrees, and Takemichi wakes up saying, "Didn't mean to hold your hand that night, my bad," because he went to hold Hina's hand. Naoto just laughs, as Takemichi shakes Naoto's hand as like a joke, saying, "Alright, bye." And he appears in the future again. Years in the future, Takemichi would notice that, his body already being pretty well toned, like pretty, well, more, it's like, he went from having below average strength when he left for the past to having, like, average strength. But now his body is actually noticeably muscular. No, like, just like a whole bodybuilder, but, like, you can tell he's decently muscular. Like, his body's very similar to past Mikey. Like, he has the same body type through and through, but yeah, his body type is very similar to that. It's just he's not as strong. But yeah. Now, Takemichi would start talking to Natsu about what he did, and I was like, oh, so you're actually able to help Toman and prevent a probable death. Maybe not, Takemichi would nod, and saying, possibly, with what's happened with Baji, what happened to Draken may actually lead up to what happened to Baji. So, preventing Draken may actually prevent Baji. Natsu would nod, saying, smart. Would you get a brain between your head? Well, not between your head, but between your ears. He's just laughing, and it just happens. And Takemichi says they should try to meet with Osanai, the leader of Mobius. And Natsu reads that, saying he was just about to lead up to that. And they meet with Osanai and everything that goes the same. And they did a little bit earlier. So with the remaining few hours they have left, Takemichi is trying to train his 5 seconds in the future at least. That's what he has the least. He tries to earlier than that. Takemichi points out that he can't see 5 minutes in the future as an adult. As a teenager, he can see 5 minutes. So it seems as his body gets older, he sees less and less in the future, or it's just until he gets able to stop time traveling. Eventually, he's able to at least do the 5 seconds by will, and when he's done with that, him and Natsu shake hands, and boom, he's back to the past. But now this day would be the day that he has the meeting with Toman. Well, not meeting Toman, just meeting with Mikey, Draken, Paon, and Pachin. He goes to that thing, and when he's there, they actually kind of ask why he's there, but he just says that he might have some more plans for Toman, where he's Mobius. And Takemichi instantly gets a 5 minutes in the future thing of him being beaten up and Osanai interrupting. Mishin says, Osanai's coming. They immediately say, are you sure? And Mishin nods, saying, alright, well, how about this? He tells Mikey, and he starts thinking about Pachin and Paon's strength, and does note that Paon's a little bit stronger than Pachin physically. So he says that Mikey and Paon should go hide. Draken should act like he's just walking in. And, should walk in the middle of it. So about this. When they first arrive, start walking in, Draken acts like he's just walking in, the same as them. Then in the middle of it, Paon and Mikey just jump in, while Takemichi and Pachin are handling their stuff. Draken agrees to that plan, saying it as a pretty good one, to catch Mobius off guard. Pachin would ask why Paon, and Takemichi says that, physically, Paon put up more of a fight than Pachin the other day, so that's why. Pachin decides, saying, alright then, whatever. Now, 5 minutes later, Mobius walks in, and Takemichi and Pachin are actually starting to become friends during this 5 minutes that they're waiting. And Osanai's a little confusing. Huh? Why are there only 2 of you? We got told that he mumbles saying, why are there only 2 of you? Well, he yells, why is there only 2 of you? And mumbles saying, I was told there was more. And let's note that the only big shot here is Pachin. Takemichi would suddenly get a glimpse of 2 seconds into the future. When he gets that, he notices that Osanai's running at them. Suddenly, Pachin said something obscene, and Pachin suddenly is punched in the face, or about to be punched in the face by Osanai, as Osanai ran at them. But as Osanai was running, suddenly one of his legs kicked out from under him, and with the leg in the front, and kicked out right at the ankle. That led to him falling over, and Pachin uppercuts Osanai up his chin, knocking him out immediately. As Osanai hits the ground, Takemichi laughed, saying, good job, Pachin. And that's when Pachin says, no, if he hit the pavement, he would probably gotten something worse than an uppercut. And he says, probably a broken jaw from just him hitting the pavement chin first, full force. Everyone started realizing, their heaviest hitter is knocked out, and it seems like the blondie's the smart one, the big guy's the brawn. So Brains and Brawn are already here. But they ran at them trying to overwhelm them in numbers, and as that begins happening, Dragon rushed in, clotheslining most of the guys in front of them, while drop kicking the other ones. Now with that, fight goes on for a bit, with Takemichi being able to, put up a decent fight by blocking and swinging. You notice that his body a little bit stronger, because, his body kind of grew with experience from fights. His body kind of had a thing with fights now, because there's already been a few where you won. So his body kind of like a thing where it's like, okay, I'll get stronger myself. So when he's in the future, his body trains and works out a bit. Not a lot, but a bit, like at least 10-15 minutes. So yeah. Now with that, suddenly in the middle of it, Payon and Mikey interrupt and take down most members of Mobius themselves. When they're done, all members of Mobius are defeated, and they leave. With them leaving, the cops arrive, and Takemichi would tell Pachin, come on, and Pachin chuckles as he stomps on Osanai's head, saying, you deserve that, at least. And then they leave the rest. One notable change, Pachin is not in prison. And Payon is really a bigger fan of Mikey, because they had nothing else to do but to wait 5 minutes, so Payon and Mikey had to talk for a bit, and they got along a little bit better. Pause for a minute. Alright, so, with this, Takemichi, you would kind of just leave with Pachin, as he offered Pachin to go out and get a milkshake. Pachin accepted, asking some other members, and they agree. They go out with Pachin, Payon, Mikey, and Draken, and Takemichi. Takemichi pays, because he's able to sneakily steal someone's wallet that was poking out. And he recognizes this as remember Mobius was able to get there first. So he took their wallet sneakily and paid for it using their money and took the wallet back in. Now, as remember Mobius was about to pay for his food, realized he had no money, and had to run away as a dine and dash. Mikey and everyone else saw what Takemichi did, and Draken was like, he deserved it. Now, next day, Takemichi would go on a date go to the festival with Hina. Like, not the next day, but a few days later, he goes to the festival with Hina after Hina did ask him. Instead of Emma wasn't pushing her, Hina was more like, I guess, loving Takemichi because he was being nicer. He didn't cheat on her, quote unquote cheat, because he wasn't in control of his body at that time. Yeah, the thing happens. Not the festival, Takemichi actually bought Hina different shoes, as Takemichi's kind of getting a habit of doing different things. As if he sees like a disaster coming that he knows that he could help with, he does it, and that did get him a decent amount of money. So, he's able to use a decent amount of money to actually buy Hina different shoes, and as he didn't know that Hina's were really small. So the festival Hina got, like, they weren't good shoes, but they were her size. So she's pretty happy with them. This time, it's like Takemichi's phone's ringing as they're hiding from the rain. This time before Hina is like, oh, your phone's ringing, he just kisses her, pulls away, and then checks his phone. Mitsuya. As Mitsuya's going on, and says members of Mobius got rowdy and got pissed off. They're coming here with weapons now. Takemichi did know the first time he encountered them, like, a few of them had like baseball bats and like sticks, but that's really it. And he asks what kind of weapons, and he says a few of them brought baseball bats, a few of them brought wooden swords, a few of them, he thinks he saw two of them, at least two of them with knives. He says, oh, they're trying to have a death match, not a brawl, a death match. He nodded. No, he didn't. Well, Takemichi can see it, but he nodded himself and said, yeah, a death match. Oh, Takemichi then says, where are they? And that's when Takemichi is thinking, never mind, don't answer. He thinks that he remembers Draken's death in his parking lot, and he's already near a parking lot. He doesn't hear anything going down, but just in case, he tells Mitsuya, meet him at this parking lot. If it's not there, he knows when the fight's going on. So he's not saying, alright, make it fast. Takemichi tells Hina run away to go find Emma. Hina agrees. Takemichi says, "We'll this way." Hina goes the other way. He just runs to the woods. He would get his 5 minutes thing, and he then sees Kiyomasa running at him with a knife. He sees Kiyomasa like a sheath knife, but Kiyomasa's running at him. Takemichi actually picks up a big stick, like a big rock running through the woods, and hides in his pocket. Like, it's not like a giant rock that you have to use two hands to pick up, but it's a big rock nonetheless. It will fit in his pocket. Now, eventually, Kiyomasa starts running at him with a knife sheath. It's close enough, Takemichi pulls out the rock, and it's Kiyomasa right across the head with it, and it knocks out Kiyomasa cold. One of the guys pulls out the knife running at Takemichi throws it, hitting them in the head with the knife. Not the knife, with the rock. I don't know if the knife that would have killed him, but hits him in the head with the rock. Takemichi is able to run, tackle one more guy, and then punches his face on the ground repeatedly until there's one last guy left. The guy is kind of nervous as she runs off in fear, and Takemichi would run to the parking lot where he sees Mitsuya. It's not here. Takemichi says, alright then, can I get around on your bike? He nods as they get on, and Payon's bike isn't there. So Takemichi will go pull out his phone, calling Payon and Pachin, saying Mobius is back for a rematch. Call Mikey. They agree. They agree to call Mikey, and they do so. Now Takemichi says, when you see Draken, don't stop. Just go, and I'll hit the nearest guy I'll hit the guy nearest to Draken. Mitsuya nods as they drive through and around against Mobius, and they get to the parking lot, and then Takemichi will punch one guy near Draken, that has a knife out. Punches the guy in the temple and knocks him out. Then Mitsuya kind of swerves around and gets off his bike, and they're ready for a fight. With that, first person to arrive is Pachin and Payon. First people to arrive are Pachin and Payon, saying, Alright, they are here for deathmatch, I see that. Draken was able to run away from the guys Mobius and get near his friends, and then the rest of the fight begins. Now by the time all Toman arrives, half of Mobius is already down due to Takemichi having a little bit more 5-minute events, and it's been around a total of 12 minutes, so he had two 5-minute warnings. Now with that, Takemichi then says that he's tired, so it's Draken. He's gonna get Draken's like a nearby doctor or something. Draken says, Alright, I'm kind of dizzy, so to kind of lean on you. Takemichi nods as he begins walking Draken to my doctor with Emma, and Hina's guarding them. You should know, Hina's hoping Emma's guarding them. And so Draken gets to the right hospital, and they're like, Alright, it's pretty bad hit, so we'll treat it with a few staples. That's done, and Draken did have to have his hair cut, just to get that staple put in. So yeah, staples put in, Draken's cool now. Now Draken starts thinking of a new hairstyle, because his ponytail's gonna be kind of weird with only half of his hair left. So he lets his half of his hair go down the side. This is the part with the dragon, and this is where the part where the staples are, or that's what he covers. And kind of weird. That's what we think. That's different. I'll think this real quick. All right, so Draken starts thinking because the side with the dragon on it is the one with the staples. So he starts thinking of a different way to cover it. She's to Emma, mentioning that she's able to put makeup over it to make the dragon look a little bit bigger, and he agrees with that. So that works. And before they trying to make sure that the makeup doesn't mess with the wound, with staples, and so eventually dragon looks a little bit bigger, and yeah. No, possible time. Sorry for my water. All right, so basically, I'm gonna go over what happened while Takemichi, Hina, and Emma were escorting Draken to a nearby hospital. By the time they had finished Mobius, about to walk away to go find out Draken's okay, but they're interrupted by a guy by the name of Hanma. Now, Hanma does say he's not here for a fight, but he is separate leader of Mobius, but he was caught up doing something. They'll say that, he's vice captain of a new gang by the name of Valhalla, and their goal is to kill Toman. He then chuckles, saying, but our first plan is ruined. Well, our first few plans are ruined. We'll get revenge. You guys wonder about Osanai? Kisaki, well, first off, he yelled at Kisaki and almost beat him to death until Hanma intervened. But, yeah. But now, with Toman, they have another meeting. And before Takemichi goes to the future. First, you have Hina in the necklace, then he has a meeting with Toman. This one, Takemichi, he was talking to Hakai and Mitsuya, and this leads to Mitsuya actually saying that Hakai stepped down from vice captain. Takemichi's a little confused until Mikey's first announcement is Takemichi Onigaki will be taking over as vice captain of 2nd Division. He throws in the look at Hakai, and Hakai says he asked for this to happen. Takemichi began crying and hugged Hakai, saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have." But that's when something else happens. It says Payon Pachin stepped down from captain of 3rd Division to vice captain. Payon is now captain. He was a little confused until Pachin says Payon proved to be stronger than Pachin, and everyone was everyone was a little more scared of him. So he thought that's a little better for everyone else. With this, Payon's kind of crying and happy, and with this, makes some of the best days for Takemichi and Payon. Everyone goes out, not everyone, but main members of 2nd Division, including Mizo Middle, Hakai, and Mitsuya, they go out for a drink. Not alcohol or anything, but drinks. Now after that, Takemichi, he would go back to the future once he goes to see Hina, just to escort her home, because she did hang out with him for that. She shakes hands with Hina's father, then Naoto, and then is in the future. In the future, Hina's alive in this one, and he goes to see her. This time he also got exactly what he wants to say. But, what he thinks he does. When he hears Hina's not home, he's kind of nervous, thinking that, she might look at people not wanting to see him. So in nervousness, he walked away, so he saw 5 minutes in the future, him bumping into Hina, and it being awkward. For the first 5 minutes of him walking away, he makes up a lie telling Naoto he's going to leave, just to think of what he's going to do next. What he does actually tell, when he bumps into Hina, is that, oh, hi, long time no see, I kind of missed you. Well, I missed you. And when he does say that, Hina just kind of starts, almost cries a bit, hugs Takemichi, and is happy to see him. Takemichi and Hina and Naoto talk for a bit. That's Takemichi actually being willing to say he missed Hina, was actually able to spark a bigger conversation, and Naoto only left because it was being a little too flirtatious. So Naoto left, and as he's leaving, she gets called for backup a little bit earlier. So he takes his car, which does lead to Hina and Naoto and Takemichi. Well, not Naoto. Hina and Takemichi not going to the park. This leads to a whole different scene. Naoto leaves, and with this one, Takemichi would just be here, just at Hina's house. Eventually, Takemichi and Hina start talking, and eventually, it's a little more extra flirtatious. The point where Takemichi and Hina, Takemichi is on top of Hina, and a little extra movements going on. Well, long story short, Takemichi isn't a 26-year-old virgin anymore. In the middle of it, Takemichi would get a vision of the next 5 minutes, seeing someone break into the house with a gun. Now he sees the person's face. He can't see the person's face, but he sees the hands. Punishment and sin. That's what's on his hand. And Takemichi, he wondered why that felt so familiar. And luckily, he was in the bathroom because he had just finished what he was doing. Or thinking in the last minute, he remembers that Maki had said the guy with tattoos saying by the name of that said punishment and sin. So he was captain of a new biker gang that's hell-bent on killing Toman. On 30 seconds left, Takemichi runs up to the bathroom, grabbing the knife block from Hina's kitchen, hiding in the room, telling Hina hide somewhere else, but get clothes on first. He was able to at least get dressed in pajamas, and then hides under her bed as the window breaks. Now Takemichi waits by Hina's door. Suddenly the door was kicked in, as he didn't see anyone around. But as Hanma had kicked in the door, he was a large knife plunged into his back. Takemichi had stabbed him. Hanma turns around to go punch Takemichi, but he stabbed in the side. Only Hanma's punched in the face by Takemichi, and being stabbed twice, he runs out, pulling 2 knives out, and he runs to a nearby car, where someone's like, what happened? Why are you bleeding everywhere? And Hanma says, they knew I was coming. And suddenly, they drive off. Hina walks out, seeing Takemichi covered in a little bit of blood, with 2 knives from a knife block missing, and on the floor covered in blood. He says, who broke in? And Takemichi then says, as Toman. Hina froze, saying, wait, they did? They're trying to kill me? Michi would nod, saying, most likely. Now, eventually Naoto comes back after Hina had called him once he was off duty, and he asks what's wrong, and he says Toman broke in, tried to kill Hina. Takemichi had defended her, almost killing the assailant. Naoto immediately rushes back, and when he goes inside, he hugs Hina, then hugs Takemichi, crying and thanking him. Takemichi says it's no big deal, and eventually Naoto was able to place Hina under a certain kind of protection, getting her out of Tokyo first. Her parents were also bought out of Tokyo, and they're put in a different side of Japan. A different part of Japan that was Tokyo. So yeah, pause real quick. So I forgot if Tokyo was a city or like a prefecture. People consider it a state or prefecture, doesn't really matter. But let's say it's both. Sure. I don't really care. But Hina's parents and Hina are moved to Hiroshima and away from Toman. But this time Takemichi will actually want to meet with Draken because he has his phone number still. He did try calling Pacha and Payon, but their numbers weren't available, saying that this recipient is no longer available. So yeah, so he goes to meet with Draken, finding him on death row. The conversation goes the same way, and Draken asks Takemichi why he wanted to visit Draken. Is because he almost got killed, and he says no, says Hina almost got killed. He asks who did it, and Takemichi then says he got his name, the guy with the punishment and sin tattoos. Draken says, oh, Hanma, what'd you do to him? Takemichi does like this kind of just folds out his hand and just like a thrusting motion with his hand straight out. Draken says, you stabbed him? Nodding twice. And he whispered this to Draken saying, yeah, I stabbed him twice. Draken didn't say stabbed out loud, kind of whispered into it saying, you stabbed him? Takemichi then kind of say back, twice. Draken just laughs saying, you crazy bastard. Just be safe. And give Hina my best regards. And she would nod, saying she loves to hear from you. Him and Naoto leave, Instead of Hina having a funeral, it was visiting Draken on death row day. Now Takemichi and now have to make a plan on what they should do next. Now Takemichi decides he's gonna take over Toman, and Naoto thinks of this as a more realistic goal because he's vice captain of Second Division. Pause real quick. Alright, so Takemichi goes back to the past, eventually after discussing that he wants to be leader of Toman. And then Naoto just laughs, saying, Alright, you're pretty high up, that should work. Now Takemichi in the past week is in a bathhouse with Mikey and Draken, and Takemichi asks, well, first he realizes where he is. Then Draken would talk to Takemichi for asking if he's okay. Then Mikey would ask if Draken's head is okay. They're punching him and kicking him in the head. Mikey just jumps up and throws a bar of soap at it. Hits Draken in the head. If Draken holds his head, like, ah, damn it! And some of the makeup making Draken look bigger. It comes off, revealing Draken's staples that are going to be out soon. But Draken punches Mikey in the chest, saying, you little jerk. And Draken and Mikey can just laugh about it. So it's Takemichi. Then eventually they leave. Takemichi puts his jacket on. And then they're met by all captains of Toman. And Mikey says they have a meeting tonight. Now, the meeting. And this one, Kisaki isn't made a captain because Pachin isn't in prison. And Bachi is a little more interested in Takemichi than Kisaki. But with his interest in Takemichi, he actually may have reason to spy on Kisaki. Now, this one, Kisaki's put in Second Division, and Takemichi is a little more weary because he does know this is Teta Kisaki. Takemichi does say out loud that he doesn't trust Kisaki not one bit. And Mikey asks why, and Takemichi says he feels like he's seen him with someone before, and someone he's seen before looked like someone he had fought in the incident with Valhalla, the incident with Mobius. Everyone immediately has eyes on Kisaki. Takemichi not wanting to mess with the future too much by actually revealing this, but I say Kisaki looked like someone that he had seen with Mobius. So yeah. So everyone's kind of weary now, and that's when Baji starts thinking, saying, "Alright, he has eyes on him too, that could help." And immediately Kisaki starts arguing with Takemichi, saying, I'd never be associated with a weak gang. This gang is the best from what I've heard. You're disgraced thinking that I would infiltrate this gang. Now Takemichi is saying, you're mouthing off to me quite a lot. I'm your superior. Listen, Takemichi looks at Mikey and Mikey just nods, saying, go ahead. And that's when Takemichi says, Hakai. Hakai then grabs like Kisaki's shirt, and Takemichi begins wailing on Kisaki. Takemichi has a lot of pent-up rage. First, Hina had died multiple times and tried to kill Hina again, and he's not happy, not one bit. So he went in Kisaki for about 2 minutes until he decides he's done. So yeah, and once he's done, everyone is like, "Oh wow, that was actually kind of just it's deserved but not deserved at the same time. Like there's reason, but there's not reason." He spits up blood and then kind of shoots someone with his nose. He then says, "This is how you treat someone new in your gang." Baji walked up to Kisaki, kicking him in the face, saying, "No, you need to know how to address your superiors." Kisaki just passes out immediately, and Takemichi looks at Mikey, saying, "Trust me, you cannot listen to anything he says. It's not going to be good." Mikey nods and he'll keep it in mind. Takemichi walks away with everyone else, and he throws Hakai at the guy just like some bag a backup. Someone he got shopping. Let's say he got shopping. He went shopping recently, and threw Hakai some like Kleenex for his hands. Hakai cleans up his hands, and asks Takemichi, is he really against Kisaki that much? And Takemichi would say, that he had saw Kisaki with someone from Mobius a few weeks ago. He doesn't trust it. Well, not at all. He trusts his gut more than Kisaki. Kai then says, well, at least give him a small chance. So Hakai walks away, and then Takemichi kept walking until Baji and Shuyu were in front of him. Baji revealed his whole thing to Shuyu, revealed his whole plan. And with that, Shuyu actually asked out Baji. Baji agreed. Then now they're going to Takemichi and why he doesn't trust Shuyu. Doesn't trust Kisaki. The whole thing told Kai. He saw Kisaki with someone from Mobius. No, Takemichi did not see Kisaki enter from Mobius. He just knows that Kisaki and Hanma are associates. He doesn't know if they are now, but still doesn't trust it. Takemichi says that they should start investigating soon. They agree. With Takemichi, as she asks about Valhalla, and Baji says he's planning to leave tonight. Leave Toma tonight, but he's a little nervous now. Takemichi then says, "Well, tell me what's going to happen, and I may have a plan for it." They start thinking, and basically Baji says he's going to beat up Chifuyu to get in. Now Takemichi starts thinking and says, "All right, I'll just meet me at my school tomorrow. If you guys know if you guys know what school Mitsuya goes to, I'm in that same school." They agree. Now Takemichi would go to school and waits outside his classroom for Baji and Chifuyu. They arrive, and Takemichi's plan is basically that we'll be convinced, just like punch us both in the face a few times, and then just bring us to the Valhalla hideout. Baji does that, and beats them till at least Takemichi's eye is swollen, and Chifuyu's nose is bleeding heavily and pretty badly bruised. Now Kazutora arrives, seeing Baji, a little confused, saying, "Baji, what are you doing here?" And he then sees two beat up members of Toman, seeing it as Baji's vice captain, and the vice captain of 2nd Division. And says, "Ooh, going after one extra to prove your loyalty, huh?" Baji would nod, saying, "Yeah." And he holds Takemichi, saying this has a problem. We should kill him at base. Katsura says, "Ooh, you're already getting on my good side, Baji." So then, and Katsura bring them to the hideout, and with that, they brought the hideout, and Baji throws Takemichi in the middle of it, but Takemichi lands on his feet, and he doesn't know Baji's just lying, along with Katsura, so he lands on his feet and stumbles around. With that, Takemichi then says, "Baji, you damn traitor," and he says it until it indicates Baji, like he knows that Baji's lying. And suddenly, one guy from behind goes to hit Takemichi with a baseball bat. Takemichi kind of heard the footsteps, he turns around, punching the guy in the chin, and it sent the guy sliding back a bit, and made him pretty dizzy. So let's pick up a baseball bat and hit him right in the temple with it, knocking him out. Now, everyone that runs at him, he's been doing just that, knowing the temple is a good spot to hit, but that's to dodge a lot. Eventually, he's able to see these 2 seconds in the future again, and it's Hanma going to hit him in the head with just a metal pipe at that. But in the last second, he's able to dodge, and it's Hanma straight inside of the knee with a baseball bat, full force, and actually breaks Hanma's. Well, let me check on it real quick. So they just make sure they can break a knee. So a broken patella or a fractured patella. That's mainly what a broken knee is. So yeah. So he pre-fractured Hanma's patella. Hanma started yelling in pain, saying, "God damn it, kill him!" That Katsura looks at Baji, does suddenly be punched in the face by Chifuyu full force. His head slammed on the ground as Baji kicks kicks Katsura in the chin, saying, "Sorry, but I'm not joining Valhalla." He then runs in a crowd of people around Takemichi and begins kicking them all around until him and Chifuyu are able to beat down most of Valhalla. Takemichi was okay, but he still had to keep the baseball bat. Eventually they leave the hideout, and while everyone's unconscious, they've been busting it up, making it so it's not really a hideout, just a heap of trash. Before Hanma gets back up, he hits him right in the head with a baseball bat, and Takemichi ends up dragging out Kazutora as he texts Mikey, saying, "You need to have a meeting right now, call it." He does so, as Takemichi would drag Kazutora behind, and they will tie up Kazutora to a tree as the meeting begins, or as everyone starts arriving. But they're able to hide Kazutora. Now, when this meeting starts, Mikey says Mikey would say Takemichi start the meeting, and asks why. Takemichi yells, "Baji, Chifuyu, move." They do so, and they reveal a knocked out Kazutora. Mikey asks what this is about, and he says that they try to convince Baji to join Valhalla, and he will plan to prevent it. And Takemichi looks at Mikey, saying now he wants something in return for keeping Baji away from Valhalla. Mikey says, "All right then, that's pretty useful. Plus, you brought me one of the leaders, I assume." Baji then says, "Third in command. Second in command is in the hospital. All thanks to Takemichi." Mikey then says, "All right then, Takemichi, what do you want? This is my favor to you, or my debt that I need to pay." Takemichi then throws a rock at Kisaki's arm, and not a big rock, this rock tosses it at Kisaki's arm, saying, kick him out, we don't need him. And plus, someone ratted on him, saying that he's a member of Valhalla. Everyone immediately starts punching around Kisaki until he's unconscious. And Mikey says, "Get him out of here." They throw him out, and Kazutora had woken up seeing Kisaki being beaten. And Takemichi looks at Kazutora saying, "Oh, you're awake. Now confirm that because Kisaki's a member of Valhalla. Or else you're going to get what he got." Kazutora then sighs, saying, "Damn you, Manjiro Sano. He's a member of Valhalla." And he says, "Alright, there's my evidence." And Takemichi says, "Now, the meeting can be over unless anyone else has anything else to say." They don't, so everyone else leaves, except for like the captains and vice captains. And Mizo Middle by default, because they're kind of like a package deal. They're like the vice captains. And Kai stays behind because he's also considered a vice captain. So yeah. Now with this, Takemichi would ask Mikey and Baji and Kazutora about the incident with Kazutora, like why is he like this? They go over everything, and Kazutora's like, "That's why I have to kill Mikey, so I'm not the villain." Takemichi says, "No, you're gonna kill Mikey because you've always been the villain, just in hiding. You're wolf in sheep's clothing, basically." And Baji begins talking into Kazutora, and Takemichi begins making more valid points. And with that, Takemichi begins to get through to Kazutora, and Kazutora then realizes that, well, he's scum. And he'll say that he was originally supposed to kill Baji, according to Kisaki. And now, Takemichi would ask if Kisaki's still around, and Baji says no. One of his guys saw him wake up and run away. Takemichi sighs, saying, "Damn it, we could have ended it here." Kazutora eventually does ask for mercy and forgiveness, and Mikey says, "Don't ask me, ask my brother." Now, Kisaki thinks that this is basically mean Mikey didn't kill him, but they drag him to the shrine, and he bows and asks for forgiveness. And one of the words he says is, "Give me a sign that you forgive me," or something. Now, suddenly, a gigantic leaf will fall on Kazutora's head, instantly being the same size as Shinichiro's hand. And Mikey even chuckles, saying, "Alright, this is forgiveness." He blows it off Kazutora's head, and says, "Alright then, well, do you want your position back in Toman?" He looks at Baji, saying, can I join your division?" Baji would say, "Why not?" Sora is then made a member of Toman again, gets a new jacket because his old one outgrew him. And pause real quick, not in the part here, but yeah, pause real quick. Okay, so Takemichi, after the whole Kazutora thing happens, the next day gets a new jacket, and then Takemichi would, at the end of the day, goes back to the future. The future continues trying to focus more on like his second and future things, until he then talks about how how Hina's doing and her family. And now to say that they're doing fine, Toman isn't really as active anymore, like trying to look for them. But they're under heavy protection by police, but sneaky, like they're sneakily being unprotected. But now Takemichi would talk about what he did in the past, and not Baji, and I was actually pretty impressed, saying, "With what you're doing, you are actually probably making Toman and revert from being evil, because all the stuff that they originally tried to do, it never happened, except for the Hanma stabbing thing. And that still happens and everything. But they still visit Jack in prison, as he's still in prison, but for murder. Again. But for murdering just different people. He murdered one member of Valhalla by accident, because they said, like, the person he murdered wasn't like Saki or anyone, but it was like a random member of Valhalla. And it was actually because they tried to stab Kazutora. When Traden tried to stab him. The Draken actually punched them too much, and they died from just being beaten to death. So instead of Kazutora being beaten to death originally, it's some random innocent guy killed by Draken. And Draken proceeded to fight, even against police. Not like punching them in the face or anything, just like shaking them off and avoiding arrest. With that, Draken actually put in juvie for resisting arrest, and then when he's actually able to be tried as an adult, he's put on death row. Draken would go over everything, and he's only held back a lot because, let's say, just for plot convenience. Yeah, Draken does that Valhalla's just a leader was Mikey, but because of Kisaki being kicked out on Takemichi's terms, he wasn't the leader, not yet. Valhalla still them started a war, but Draken killed someone in the war, and then after that, Valhalla got absorbed, and eventually Toman was able to be tricked enough by Valhalla to be renamed Valhalla, and then Toman again, but Mikey still being the leader, then Kisaki and Hanma being behind him. Takemichi's like, alright, well, he leaves after that, and it's kind of sad because, well, let's say, like, they're just gonna leave, never mind, screw that. But yeah, Takemichi goes back to the past, and in the past, forget how he woke up. But all he knows is that there's still a war. But yeah, so we're just gonna kind of go to the war because everything, like when Draken meets Kazutora, just call off the war. It's just kind of Kazutora, Baji, Draken, and Mikey just hanging out like old times, like old family members hanging out like old times. But now the war. When that starts to replace Kisaki and Kazutora missing plus Baji. This leads to Kisaki takes one of the places that he takes Kazutora's place. But then, to make Evan power, because they lost the powerhouse, that being Kazutora, they are replaced by Ron and Rindo Aitani, and what was the guy's name? So Kanji Mochizuki, that big guy that had beaten up Angry and Smiley before in the manga. So he hasn't appeared in the anime yet, so he's a spoiler, but yeah. So he replaces the other two slots. Well, two slots already filled like extra slot, but yeah, everything happens. So Ron and Rindo take the place of Baji and Kazutora who are missing, then Mochizu is just extra power. So yeah. So Takemichi is actually the one who's going to be, well, first off it was Draken, but Takemichi had a 5-second glimpse in the future, as he did do some like training, and was actually able to do it sometimes at will. He's able to do it at will. He's able to see that when Mochizu is going to basically do like the peace, well, not Mochizu, let's say it's like Ron and Rindo Aitani. Want to do the peace thing and just announce the war. They're actually tracking off guard and beating him while Mochizu knocks out Hansen. Takemichi would walk up saying he wants to be the representative, so they agree, and he walks up. Now he'll keep memorizing what the Haitani brothers are going to do. So he shakes hands, ends with Ron Haitani, and as Ron is about to put him in hold, and Rindo will jump over him. Takemichi instantly is able to grab the baton from Rindo and slap Ron across the face, and then hits Rindo right in the groin with it, then right across the face. Then he's able to hit Mochizu in the eye at the end of it, and protects Hansen. And tells Hansen that this isn't gonna be like a normal gang fight. This is gonna be an all-out war. Hansen would nod, saying, "All right, then you do you." And he walks away, throwing the baton to the side. Suddenly, angry, walk right up to Ron and Rindo. They've been fighting them and abusing them. And Mochizuki looks at Takemichi, saying, "While you little run, I'll kill you." Takemichi then tries to do another 5-minute thing, and he's able to see that he's being beaten to death by Mochizuki. He's able to avoid all the strikes, so it doesn't happen. He's just kind of nervous, and he kind of uses some members of Valhalla as a shield. But now suddenly Takemichi is grabbed by someone. He looks up. He didn't see this. It was Osunai. Now, as Mochizuki starts to land a hit, Takemichi will then realize that when he's being beaten to death, it wasn't on the ground. He didn't see Osunai's body parts. With this, he remembered how to counter it, and actually was able to twist and throw Osunai in the way, being punched right in the back. With that, he picks up a rock and hits Mochi right in the face with it, so he's unconscious. Looks at Osunai then says, "All right, come on, fight me again." And he says, "Nope, me and you have no beef." Walks away. Osunai says, "Oh, we have plenty of it." When suddenly Takemichi then says, "Nope, but they do." And suddenly he's picked up by Paon saying, "Die." This man slams on the ground, and Pachin begins beating on him. Now with this, Toman wins overwhelmingly. Hanma's pretty easily beaten by Draken and Kazutora teaming up. And then this leads to basically Mikey beating down Kisaki, trying to deceive him. But the war ends with the cops arriving. But by the time the cops arrived, all of Valhalla was laid out. Not the important ones. The important ones escaped, but most of them were arrested. So basically, being Mochizu, Tiny brothers, there's Kisaki and Hanma escaped. Kazutora and Baji were part of Valhalla, so they were able to escape. Baji isn't stabbed. Yay! It's a miracle. The only reason that basically that Kazutora was almost stabbed, the guy that was going to be stabbed, Takemichi was able to use as a shield without realizing it. So he used that guy with the knife as a shield, and the guy's punched right in the ribs by Mochizuki, and his ribs are broken. So just isn't able to fight. So yeah, just hit. I forgot to explain that. I'm sorry. Pause real quick. Alright, so the war ended. Everyone escapes safe and sound. Except for the guy that was about to stab Kazutora. But, yeah. Now, eventually, Takemichi does go to Draken's house still. Emma's birthday still happens. Takemichi, this time, isn't just mistaken for a customer because he wears a Toman jacket. And they're like the gang of miners. But yeah, now, probably not mucho. Pretty sure like 18, 19. But yeah. Takemichi does go to back to the future eventually. In the future, he does have a new look. Takemichi is still pretty muscular. Here. And this one, he also just has a little bit longer hair. His hair it's kind of dyed similar to like Kazutora's color scheme for his hair. This one, I'm going to go over something kind of just real quick just to explain Kazutora. Kazutora did leave Toman eventually because Valhalla was absorbed into Toman, and Kisaki snuck his way back in eventually, like a year later, and took over Toman. So yeah, just go over that. That's why that's why Toman's still a little bit evil, and that kind of led to Kazutora leaving because he didn't like evil Toman. Baji left alongside him, and initially they were about to be killed, but Baji fought for Kazutora and was killed by Hanma. Hanma shot him, but Kazutora was able to get away on Baji's request. So yeah, Baji was killed by Hanma in this one. Then Draken this one is on death row because he's still on death row and is actually executed on death row. Because when Kisaki snuck his way back into Toman, he got mad and tried to fight his way through multiple members of Valhalla and Toman to kill Kisaki, but it did not work, sadly. And now someone called cops on him, and then he's arrested and put on death row. We'll first go just juvenile detention for mass murder, because, well, not mass murder, but multiple counts of manslaughter and murder. Then with that, when he's old enough to be tried in actual prison, put on death row, do multiple counts of murder, put to death pretty fast, and then he's killed. So yeah. But yeah, now, Takemichi, his look is he's a little more muscular, a little bit taller, around 5'6" actually, instead of being his usual 5'4". But up echelon meeting, Chifuyu did notify him of that, as Takemichi's right-hand man is still Chifuyu, but Akun and Chifuyu are like his two assistants. Then his other assistants being his other friends. That being Natsushi. Akun and Chifuyu are his assistants. Takuya, Suzuki, and Yamagishi, those are his other assistants. He has multiple. So they drive him to upper echelon meeting as they explain what's going on, because Takemichi says he's kind of blinking. Can you go over what the meeting is about again? To go over that, Takemichi, he would arrive at the meeting, and he gets a 5-minute thing. He wants to know what's going to happen soon, because Kisaki's not here. Well, he does get called in 5 minutes. He gets called by Kisaki. Takemichi does say he fakes a phone call. He fakes like a sound on his phone. He does say a phone call. And he does say, "Oh, someone's calling me. Can I go take this?" They agree, saying to be back fast. And he says, "Give me 5 minutes." They agree. So Takemichi goes to the side, and when Chifuyu does try to follow him, Takemichi just hits him right in the face, a full force, and knocks him out immediately. Takemichi hides him by a dumpster, and he really runs around looking for a way to get up higher in the building. Only way up there is like a drainage thing. And Takemichi, forgetting he's actually strong, he's kind of nervous, but he just starts climbing it, and does it pretty damn easily. He's able to see through the window. He looks in, seeing Kisaki preparing some drinks, and these drinks aren't really, they're good, but Kaki's also unpackaging some pills that Takemichi does know can make someone pass out, because he'd heard about them on the news at one point, and they were used to drug women at bars. Takemichi is able to sneak into the window when Kisaki turns around. Over that, Kisaki does hear the window open, but he was walking up to him. Takemichi then suddenly punch Kisaki in the back of the head, and pulls his gun out of his pocket and put it to his head, saying, "Now what the hell are you doing?" I saw the pills. Kisaki tries to lie, saying that they were for the members of Black Dragons, referring to Hakai, Inupi, and Koko. Takemichi really get a 5 second see the future thing, and realize that he's knocked out. Well, not knocked out. He's punched in the face and then shot. So Kisaki would go to take him. Takemichi actually lets the kick land, but no one, he'd go about to be taken from him. First, sorry about that, I messed that up. So the 5 second thing happens is 5 second thing is over. He's kicked right in the shin and about to be punched in the face, but he dodges. And then shoots Kisaki right in the stomach. That happened. Kisaki coughs up blood. Everyone rushes up, and Takemichi has Kisaki at gunpoint. At that, everyone begins to draw knives on Takemichi, but suddenly the lights go out, and Takemichi hears a lot of just ow, ow, ow screaming, and eventually the lights come back on, seeing multiple members of Toman who are in there, plus Hakai, Inupi, and Koko are knocked out. Takemichi looks at the guy, not seeing body's hair, but sees a blonde streak, saying, Kazutora? Turns around saying, oh, so you weren't completely evil, you were a spy still. Takemichi kind of stuttered, saying, yeah, that's what it is. Kazutora then says, alright, kill him. Takemichi then says, sure. Shoots Kisaki right in the chest, because, kind of still didn't want to see brains splattered everywhere. So again, shoots him in the chest. Forgetting which side of the body the heart was on, but the police coming, so Kazutora didn't pay attention and left before Takemichi. Takemichi puts it in his pocket, or in his waistband, then jumps out the window after Kazutora. So Kazutora drives off, but first Takemichi brings along Chifuyu. First he brings Chifuyu, then they drive off. Yeah. Now, this one, Takemichi uses Chifuyu under bridge with Kazutora, and Kazutora then says, he doesn't hit Takemichi, he's saying, I didn't know someone was the one beating gang. But after he says that, he's glad that there are at least some good guys in Toman, referring to Takemichi and Chifuyu. Takemichi does feel kind of bad about this, but he does say that he didn't intend for Toman to turn into this. And Takemichi starts thinking, and says he thinks he wants to reveal his time travel thing to them. But Takemichi goes through his phone, not seeing none of his contacts, and then calls Naoto, and then tells Naoto to meet him here, but bring no one, because he has something to tell Naoto. So when Naoto arrives, they do know he's a cop, but Takemichi tells him he's cool. Naoto asks Takemichi what to tell him, and Takemichi then says he's telling them his secret. Now, this character is now off-guard, saying, wait, you can't tell him, it's not good. Takemichi then says, but he has to. This would be the right thing. Naoto inside saying, alright then, fine, go ahead. Takemichi would then go over his whole time travel incident with Kazutora and Chifuyu, talking about his back and forth with time. With this, they're kind of amazed, but don't believe it, until Takemichi begins proving it, saying the only reason he's good at fighting, or quote-unquote good, is because, he can see 5 seconds in the future, or 2 at times. They're like, oh, that kind of explains it, actually. And then she does something like, to prevent Draken's death, prevent Body's death, prevent Kazutora's death, prevent everyone's death. He's preventing that. Then Draken would have been on death row a few times. This one he actually did get put on death row and died. So yeah. Eventually, Takemichi then actually asked Naoto why Naoto said he was already coming here. Or coming nearby. Naoto explains everything with Hina, and says that she was caught, but he was able to save her by just kind of ambushing them. But Hina is in a hospital, but it's kind of a low-key one. Takemichi understands. He says, well, is she alive? No, that's what says critical condition. So yeah. Now with this, Takemichi then says that he wants to try something. Holds his hand out as Naoto go to shake it, but he says, Chifuyu and Kazutora, put your hands in. They agree. Takemichi then shakes Naoto's hand at Kazutora and Chifuyu's hand on top, and then he travels back to the past. Pause real quick. Alright, so Takemichi, Kazutora, Chifuyu, and Naoto, well, just Takemichi, Kazutora, and Chifuyu, return to the past. When they return to the past, they'll wake up in their own situations. Chifuyu hanging out with Baji and Kazutora. Then Kazutora hanging out with Baji and Chifuyu. Takemichi doing whatever he was doing with Hakai. No, he's bullying with Hakai and Hina and Yuzuha. This time Takemichi knew who Hakai was, because he's Hakai's superior, and he doesn't know who Yuzuha is and everything. They're just kind of hanging out with each other. Now as they're leaving, they're going into Hakai's neighborhood, and Hakai saw hordes of black dragons. Hakai immediately tells Takemichi and Hina to leave, but Takemichi refuses. Takemichi kind of being nervous, just thinking, and kind of nervous for Hakai, his emotions spark up, and he's able to spark up his 5 minute in the future thing because of how much worry he has. With that, he sees himself being ran by something pretty big, and recognizes it as he actually asked if Hakai knows someone that has this many tattoos, has this color hair, has this color jacket. The Kaiden says, yes, my older brother. Takemichi then says, he's going to ambush us. Hakai would ask how Takemichi knows this, and he says he wanted to know if that was Black Dragon leader because he's heard of them before, and he's kind of worried now. Inupi then starts to kill Hakai suddenly, and before Yuzawa can attack Inupi, Takemichi suddenly grabs a knife from Inupi, and kind of chop him right in the throat, making him spit up a little bit of blood, and kick him away, saying that they should run now, even Hakai and Yuzawa. Hakai says, alright, then where are we going to go? Takemichi says he's been working on a little bit of a hangout spot. He begins running away as fast as he can, and he begins calling Baji and Kazutora and Shuyu. Well, first he calls Baji, then asks if Kazutora and Shuyu can hear him. They can briefly hear him. And he says, meet at the hangout spot. They agree, as they should call the leader of Toman. Takemichi says, for good measure. They agree, and then first off, Takemichi has to carry Hina, and then Hakai has to carry Yuzawa because they kind of ran out of breath a little bit faster. Takemichi running away so much has a little bit more stamina and experience with this. Hakai is just built different. Yuzawa and Hina, I don't think they've been in many fights. Actually, no, Yuzawa, I don't doubt that, but I don't think Hina has. But yeah, so eventually Takemichi would get to their hangout spot, which actually revealed to be the old Valhalla old Valhalla hangout. Again, then rush inside. Well, first off, Kazutora holds the door open and tells Takemichi him and Shifuyu are gonna have a conversation with those two plus Shifuyu and Baji are gonna have a conversation later. Takemichi just says, "All right, never mind that." He tells Kazutora to close the door and don't turn on any lights except for the one in the back room. They agree as they do that, and they are able to move at least 2 game systems in front of the 2 doors. Now we're going to go back dragons who are actually looking for Takemichi, Hakai, Yuzawa, and Hina. Now they check the gameplays. The spots where the 2 games are moved from, they weren't by any windows, so they aren't revealed. They think the doors are hard to open. So yeah, they think the doors are locked, so they can't find them. Like, okay, never mind. Screw it. They're not here. They ran away. Now, that's what's going on. Takemichi explains, tells Hakai to explain the situation, and Hakai's a little nervous, so Yuzawa just says, our brothers lead Black Dragons. Hakai hates him, so he joined a gang that Taiju doesn't like. And he realized that Hakai realized that he was actually in Toman because he loved it, and he cares about Mitsuya. So, yeah. Now with that, this is Mucho and Smiley actually being a little disappointed in Hakai. They're like, alright, then we should have loyalty to us. So, we're okay with that. Takemichi then explains, Taiju planned on ambushing him because he saw Taiju in the shadows, and asks what they should do. And Hakai then says, well, how do you know you're going to ambush us? Takemichi says he saw the jacket. Now he kind of saw the future, but wouldn't explain it. When Shifuyu and Kazutora can tell Takemichi saw the future. But Kazutora says he believes Takemichi, Shifuyu says he believes as well, and yeah. Now, eventually, they said they should declare war with Toman. Not Toman, I mean, they should declare war with Black Dragons. Takemichi agrees to this, and Takemichi then says that if they're going to do this, they should be fast before Christmas, because they don't want to fight on Christmas Day. They agree, and Takemichi, she looks through one of the windows that's kind of open, and he sees a few members of Black Dragons walking around. Takemichi says, well, they're outside right now. Should we declare the war or not? Maki then says, better now than never. The heaviest hitters are here. Pacha and Payon nods. Yeah, we are. So, well, yeah, all of us are here. And Takemichi counts, saying, all right, every leader and vice captain are here, plus Hakai and Shifuyu, because Kazutora is now the vice captain of 1st Division. Yeah, everyone's here. So Yuzo actually walks up to the roof, saying, Toman isn't here. They were holding me captive. Taiju chuckles, saying, thinking, I knew she was always more loyal to me than Hakai. So they bust in the doors, and they suddenly are met. Even Kyoko busting the doors when they're met with 2 very strong punches from Kazutora and Baji. Their lights are immediately knocked out, and more members of Black Dragons pour in. As them all inside, the doors are shut, And then Taiju would walk to the front saying, "Alright, where's the invincible Mikey? On term limb from limb." Michi being trying to focus, not being as worried, so powers to activate, but his 5 seconds into the future does. And sees that Mikey is easily able to knock out Taiju, but Takemichi actually insists on fighting Taiju instead, once his vision's over. Because that keeps trying to just enhance his worry so he can see a little bit farther in the future. And he's able to see 5 seconds again. He's able to see that when he kind of interrupted it, so this time Taiju's going to punch him in the face and actually knocks him out. Takemichi is analyzing it for a quick second, and then we go to the punch. Taiju has to punch Takemichi. Takemichi is able to dodge this, jump up high while holding. He grabs Taiju's arm, jumps in the air, and kicks him in the neck full force. And then, when Taiju's falling down, Takemichi is able to hold Taiju down and proceed to stomp on his head until he's unconscious. Everyone was amazed, and Takemichi then says, "Alright then, let's go." Takemichi is actually more of an experienced fighter, just through experience, and does know to hit where it hurts to fight. So abdomen, nose, temple, chin, groin, legs, mainly the knees and the shins, that kind of stuff. He knows that. But yeah, so eventually everything's handled, and by the time it's done, Taiju wakes up by the time Black Dragons are all defeated. Yuppie and Coco are just in the corners covered in blood. That is, they try to fight back once they woke up, and Katsura brutalized them both. Yeah, so Taiju gets back up, saying, "That was cheap. I'm gonna kill whoever stomped on my head." Takemichi then says, "Alright then, kill me." Here he tries to tackle Takemichi. No, the tackle lands. Takemichi then realizes Taiju's heading for a game machine, but realizes Taiju's about to step on something pretty important. Well, not important, but no, it's knock him off balance. That being a rock. Takemichi, it makes sure Taiju steps on the rock, which does kind of ruin his balance. Now Takemichi is able to lift him up and throw him onto a broken, I guess they just throw him on a broken game. So he throws him on one of the game consoles, and Taiju is just passed out, his back hitting cold hard metal at a decently fast rate, so it just knocks him out. Yeah, Taiju's unconscious, and they're set. Now with this, Inupi walks up to Takemichi, bowing, saying he's been in Black Dragons longer than Taiju, and he doesn't know how this works. He actually asks if Black Dragons can be fused to Toman, and Takemichi, or if Mikey says no, the Black Dragons can be fused, yes, Takemichi can be the 11th generation leader. Mikey does say no, Black Dragons cannot be in Toman, but Takemichi, knowing Mikey's brother, leader of Black Dragons, and Mikey has said Takemichi reminds him of his brother. Takemichi then says he wants to be 11th generation leader. He'll be allies of Toman. This leads to basically Mikey saying, "You sure?" Takemichi would nod, saying, "Yep. We'll even attend your meetings, and I can either be someone equal to you or someone below you. You can choose." Mikey smiles, hugging Takemichi, saying, It was nice having you in Toman." Takemichi smiles, taking off Taiju's jacket, putting it on, and a little bit being a little too big, but Takemichi doesn't care. As he asks Mitsuya, "Do you have anything that's able to cut half of this off, then stitch it back together?" Mitsuya does have this just a thing, but he'll go back to Takemichi later. Now, Takemichi is now leader of Black Dragons, as Taiju has been dethroned. Takemichi does get Hakai, saying, "What do you want to do with him?" Takemichi even asks Yuzawa, and Yuzawa then says, "Turn him into the police. He's done too much for me to even forgive him at this point." Kai says he agrees, and Takemichi turns in Taiju to the police. Takemichi would ask anyone, they call the Toman meeting the next day, and he asked, "Do they have anything they want to do? Do you have anything that you want to do before I leave?" He's in the middle, and he runs up, saying that they'll join the Black Dragons, taking off their jackets, and bowing in front of Mitsuya, bowing and holding out their jackets. Mitsuya says, "Keep them. Just give them as just remember us, to remember us by." They keep him. Takemichi then asks Mitsuya about his jacket. Mitsuya throws it to him, puts it on, and Takemichi, he would ask about his friends. They have their jackets too. And yeah. Now, he asks if anyone else wants to join Black Dragons. They have the option to join if they want. This is when Sora steps up, saying he'll join. And Payon, shockingly, says he wants to join as well. As they step up, Takemichi then bows to them, saying, "Alright then, you guys are." Well, he looks at Kazusora, Payon, and and then Hakai. Hakai is being one of the people that ever didn't want expected to join because, Mitsuya did encourage Hakai to join. When Hakai left, That's when Baji actually suggests that 2nd Division should be fused to 1st Division. Mitsuya agrees to this, and now Mitsuya is the vice captain of 1st Division. With this, Chifuyu actually then says that Takemichi and him became a little closer than he expected, so he actually wants to join Black Dragons. So Chifuyu, Kazutora, Peion, Hakai. Those are the Black Dragons. Takemichi declares them his 4 admirals. And he is the fleet admiral. So, yeah. With that, he says that Toman and Black Dragons will now be allies, and that he looks forward to working with them in the future. They all bow at him, saying they'll miss him. But Takemichi says they will attend every single meeting and everything. That they won't have any input unless they think they should. Since the meeting's concluded, Takemichi begins walking away. His 4 admirals say that they're going to go home, and yeah, so it means a middle. You guys wondering why I didn't make Akun or someone like one of the 4 admirals, or at least 5 admirals? They cannot fight without Takemichi telling them where to hit where it hurts. They know how to hit where it hurts, it's just they're slow and weak. That's really it. They're decently strong for someone their age, I'd assume, but that's really it. But now Takemichi, as he's walking away, he encounters Hina's father, and that kind of goes the same way, but until he has Takemichi break up with Hina. Takemichi explains that he will never break up with Hina. He loves her too much to even lose her. She's one of the only things he has in this world that he declares has true value. Again, this kind of confuses Masato, because Hina's father's name. Masato's like, what do you mean you have your gang, and you're part of a new one, I see. Takemichi says he's now the leader of Black Dragons, and they're now allies at Toman. But no matter what, Hina is his main priority. If Hina was ever threatened by another gang, Toman and Black Dragons would take it over. If Hina would want me to leave, I'd leave in a heartbeat. Hina is the biggest value of my life, or the only thing I take value in with my own life. So he says, well, if that's how you feel, then I want you to do this. I'll bring you to my house, and you have to propose to Hina in front of me. Takemichi says, he will do that immediately, in a heartbeat. But I was like, he scares most kids, but let's go then. He drives Takemichi to his house, and Masato opens the door. She was like, oh, hey, Dad. She was close the door behind him, so holds the door open. Takemichi would walk in behind him. Masato then says, Takemichi, what do we talk about? Takemichi then tells Hina, your dad gave me this ultimatum, break up with you or marry you. Hina, knowing that marriage would scare most kids around this age, says she thinks I'll never forgive my dad. This says till Takemichi then says that shocks everyone. Hina, will you marry me? Hina then throws something to Takemichi, and that can't give her an answer. Takemichi then says 12 years time. So yeah, that's all set in stone now. Pause real quick. Alright, so next important thing would basically be New Year's. Well, first Christmas, and Toman kind of spends it together. Takemichi spends it with Toman, and then later goes talks about Hina and her family's house and hangs out with them for a bit. But the conversation with Chifuyu, Kazutora, and Baji, and this time Takemichi wants to include Hina. In Naruto for a little bit of just clearance while he always shakes his hand. Now Hina, Naruto, and Baji don't believe it until this one Chifuyu and Kazutora get all their adult memories. So they bring all that along. They get that stuff. They go over everything and how Baji dies between Kazutora from an evil Toman. And now Saki is able to sneak his way in soon. Now this, Baji starts trusting his friends more and more, and gives in, thanking Takemichi for preventing his death. And Draki at that. And Hina believes Takemichi because she loves him, and it's her future husband. So she believes him, and now believes Hina. Well, believes Takemichi because Hina believes him, and Takemichi is his future brother. So yeah. So now says so shaking hands is the only way that you can be an adult again. Takemichi then nods, saying, well, I can always be an adult again, but shaking hands is the fastest way. Naruto catches that, and then he hangs out with them until New Year's. New Year's rolls around, and then they go to the shrine. Michi's sisters, they don't take Takemichi as just some random ugly guy. They think of him as pretty handsome. Now Michi's a little confused, really? Or do you like him? And one Ichi's sister is pointing out that Takemichi's pretty muscular and a little bit bigger. Ichi then starts thinking, saying, well, yeah, he hasn't really paid attention to his physical appearance. Takemichi's body, when he's not in it, does have the habit of working out a lot. And his body does have the habit of fighting still, so it trains in this, like, the basics of fighting. Takemichi then takes a look at his body, when things haven't took over. Or just his hair kind of grew out, kind of like smiling angry hair, looks like that, just blonde. And he then also realizes that, well, he's also decently toned. And his height went from being on the same height as Mikey, being close in height to like Baji, being close. Like from 5'6", Baji's like 5'8". Yeah, so he likes his body, and then starts going through some stuff he has because he recognized some new stuff in his apartment. And starts realizing these are books on like basic combat. So he goes through these and learns the basics of that combat, and yeah. Now next up, 12 years in the future. He travels forward, and in the future, Takemichi is just... Well, in the future, I believe it'd be like Takemichi discovering that... Oh yeah, never mind. I forgot about something else. After Takemichi analyzes his body and the basics of fighting, Mikey gives him a motorcycle. Well, Takemichi is pretty thankful for it. And yeah. Now, he gets the bike, then the future. In the future, he's hanging out with Mitsuya, Chifuyu... Not Mitsuya, I mean. I don't want to say Mitsuya, he's dead. He's hanging out with Chifuyu, Baji, Kazutora, and Naoto. Naoto is actually a little more laid back, and is a lot higher in position as a cop. This one, basically, Baji... Naoto underwent martial arts training with Baji just to pass more exams because he was in physical shape, so to pass the entrance exams to be a cop. He trained under Baji for a bit, and a little bit under Takemichi and everyone else. This one, Takemichi actually joined in on training, so look, Takemichi just have some instilled martial arts drilled into their head. But Takemichi would realize that they're at Mitsuya's funeral, and it had just ended. And Takemichi looks at them as they say, and we figured out while we're waiting for you that when you travel back, we get memories of the next few years. Takemichi says, oh, so I don't need to, you guys don't need to travel back in the future with me. I just need to do it, and you guys will come with me. They say, yeah. And Takemichi says, that's a little inconvenient, don't you think? And they say, well, you send us a text, and then we'll look at it. Takemichi agrees, saying, all right, then, just text me when you have a chance, then. Or just show me, or send a message back, they use Reddit, and say yes or no. So they agree to that. Now, they start the funeral, and Takemichi then talks about how Mikey said he's always been wanting to go to the Philippines. Baji backs up that point. And the only reason Chifuyu, Baji, and Kazutora are alive right now, plus Naoto and Takemichi, they weren't in Japan to help Naoto become a cop. They're kind of training somewhere else. Well, first off, Takemichi was on vacation, and now Naoto wanted to talk to Takemichi on how to fight, because Takemichi seems to be pretty good at it. Then Baji kind of came with him because now Naoto asked, and then Kazutora and Chifuyu came because they wanted to. They were just out of country. That's really it. But yeah, now Mitsuya's funeral, they leave, and they get plane tickets for the Philippines. They go to the Philippines, and while they're there, they are kind of questioning what Mikey's doing, because Takemichi walks in, he yells for Mikey. Mikey just throws a rock at Takemichi, he catches it, and turns around and seeing Mikey. Now with this, Takemichi would ask Mikey what went wrong, and Mikey then says he doesn't know, he just snapped. Now Takemichi shivers at Mikey, and Mikey has tried to fire a gun, but now shoots the gun out of Mikey's hand. At least Takemichi right now is kicking Mikey right in the face, saying, Mikey, I know wouldn't kill Draken if he snapped, no matter what happened. And so Mikey then says, Draken got in the way of developing Toman. That's what happened. And everyone immediately realized, well, they left Toman, but Mikey couldn't kill them because they're out of country. Draken couldn't leave with them because he was missing. So they kind of realized that Takemichi being on vacation helped him dodge a bullet. But they also realized Kisaki still tricked Mikey and took his way into Toman. Usually everything goes the same, but this time when Mikey holds Takemichi at gunpoint and asks Takemichi to kill him, before Naoto fire the gun, and Kazutora kicks it in the air, and then Baji tackles Mikey, and he does realize the gun's on safety, so he tackles Mikey, and puts him in a rear-naked chokehold, making him pass out. With that, they tie up Mikey, hide him in luggage. They're able to go back to Japan, but it's just Takemichi doesn't having his bag with him, and he bribes the flight attendant and everything, so he can keep his bag near him. They go to Japan and tie up Mikey in his apartment. What's one about Hina is when she's still in critical condition. Takemichi would be married by now if Hina wasn't in critical condition. He would be married to Hina if he wasn't in critical condition. Yeah, so Mikey's interrogated and even beaten because just that. Pause real quick. Alright, so they interrogate Mikey and everything, and I don't think I went over this, but so they get back to America. They get back to Japan, tie up Mikey in Takemichi's apartment, and they interrogate him. So they interrogate him. They still beat him up. Takemichi, especially because he could have gotten married already. But eventually, Takemichi asks if they should tell Mikey. But Takemichi says if Mikey were to go berserk in the future, or if they do, something bad may happen. And if Mikey does go at it again. Mikey's a little confused, but it's still being dazed to the point where he can't understand it. But Takemichi does say that they'll consult him if he thinks they should later. Well, yeah. Now with that, they agree and they eventually just time travel. Well, first they release Mikey, but they do say if he comes after them again, he will die. But yeah, so they time travel again. But when to go back to the past, Takemichi needs them all. At least needs 2 of them. But yeah, so he goes back to the past, and all of them will go back to the past. And in the past, Takemichi would basically be with Kazutora, Chifuyu, and Baji. And Takemichi says, "So what do you think they should do next?" And Takemichi then says that they should at least try to just live life as they can, but also trying to prevent Mikey to die. Their Mikey to die, and awaken this new Mikey. So they agree to this. When suddenly Chifuyu then says, "Tenjiku." Baji and Kazutora then say, "Yeah, we need to handle that." They run down what they can get of Tenjiku from their memories, and after they take all the memories handled, Takemichi says, "All right, then take down Tenjiku. That should handle it." So yeah. Now we're gonna go to basically Akun and Mizo Middle running away from Tenjiku, which are being beaten up. So as they run away, they do have Takemichi. They tell him that, "Oh yeah, we were beaten up by this gang." Takemichi has been walking around for a while, so his friends are with him. Baji is just hanging out with him because he can. He's not a member of Black Dragons. But suddenly, as they're about to be attacked, because most members of Tenjiku, Takemichi's able to avoid the first few punches and fight back. But they get overwhelmed until suddenly Taiju would interrupt. Not Taiju, I want to say Taiju. Hakai would interrupt. Hakai interrupts, begins fighting back, saying sorry he's late. As he interrupts the fight, he begins fighting everyone, and then most people of Black Dragons that do prefer Takemichi over Taiju are having and beating down most of Tenjiku. Until it comes down to Mochizuki. This leads to a fight between Mochi and Hakai. Hakai's losing pretty badly, but eventually he's able to grab Mochi by the neck, and with that, loses Kazutora is kicking Mochi in the face multiple times until he's unconscious. He's unconscious. Friends are like, "Alright, we're safe, we're fine." Takemichi says, "So this is Tenjiku?" And Chifuyu then says, "Not all of it." So yeah, now I'm gonna go through everything else up until the point we get to well, first off, they usually do get kidnapped by Mucho and Sanzu still. That still happens. Most of the time when they're kidnapped, they kind of go by their own will. It's just they didn't know where they were going. They were lied to. But by the time they're knocked out, they're tied up. They're tied up. Takemichi isn't really phased at all. He just realizes he's pretty badly bruised. But no one else in the room is panicking except for Mizo Middle. Well, not Akun, but Akun and Taki are calm. Suzuki and Yamagishi are having the freak out of their life. Eventually, Mucho says he suspects them of being spies. What Takemichi then says, "Shifuyu, Kazutora, Baji, what do you have to say about this?" Baji then says, "He's part of the S62 generation. He's loyal to Izuna, not us." Mucho then immediately froze, looking at Sanzu. Sanzu then says, "They caught us. How'd you know?" Mucho says, long enough for this to be a distraction. Suddenly, Kai breaks free from his ropes, punching Sanzu into the wall. That led to Baji jumping up from his chair and slamming it right into Mucho. Mucho breaks the chair and ties on Taiju. Baji begins wailing on Mucho. He's unconscious, and then they realize that they forgot about the rest of Toman, well, Fifth Division that are there. They realize that basically Kasura was able to escape by slamming a chair into someone else, and same with Takemichi. So they also tie him in the middle, and then they walk away. And for the hell of it, they take Mucho's car. But now, we go to the part where Emma would die, basically. That part, Saki and Hanma plan to kill Emma, but, well, first off, Emma and Mikey did meet Izuna, then on the way back, Saki and Hanma are going to kill Emma. This time, Takemichi is actually with his friends because they want to discuss more things. Well, he's with his 4 admirals, I believe, so Shifuyu, Kazutora, Hakai, and, Shifuyu, Kazutora, Hakai, Payon. I say Payon. I didn't say Payon came, but I didn't say it. I don't know why. I replaced him with Baji, but that's why. Okay, so this time he's hanging out with his four admirals, and with that, as they're talking, suddenly they hear a bike revving, and it has a baseball bat. As it's going towards them, you see realize the bat, with the angle it's extended, it's kind of the bike is going towards them, not the bat. He says that suddenly Pei would jump and grab Emma as Baji kicks Takemichi to the side. And when that happens, the bike had missed Emma, but hit Pei right in the back. The bat hit Pei in the back. Well then Takemichi was missed by the bike. Bike swirls around. Takemichi immediately is able to recognize the person with the bat as Kisaki. When he says that, this leads to Takemichi throwing a rock right at Kisaki. Kisaki was able to dodge it, but his head swerved right into the lane of Hakai. Hakai punched the helmet as hard as possible, sending Kisaki off the bike, and Takemichi picked him up, slammed him against the wall, and began beating him with the bat. Well then, when Hanma went to go get Kisaki, his bike is kicked over by Pei, and Pei begins beating up Hanma. By the time they're done, Kisaki is just in a puddle of blood, and then Hanma isn't even conscious. He then texts Mikey saying he also meeting with someone like dragons, and the meeting is set. When they get there, Takemichi would actually be above Mikey, and he tells everyone what had happened with Emma and everyone. Emma backs up the story, and Mikey then says, "So our goal is to take down Tenjiku, correct?" Takemichi would nod, saying they also have a plan for this to be the final battle of delinquents, because Saki and Hanma are involved. There's probably bigger names in this, so this is probably going to be the biggest battle of delinquent and the final. Now, if you're wondering about Kakucha, that whole part, that wouldn't happen because all those Tenjiku that attacked them were taken down, so they kind of just ignored it and walked away. So they didn't have any need for anything else. But yeah, so back to the whole meeting. Everyone thinks that is pretty epic, and if they do reign as delinquents, they don't need to be delinquents anymore. But yeah, now they've been prepping for the Battle of Delinquents. But Takemichi wanting to know, well, this battle is really called I forgot what battle it was, but it goes a little bit different. Like the title is like the war the war of the best. We'll call it that. War of the best delinquents, and that was it. But Takemichi would go to the future to learn more about it. And when he goes to the future, he still meets Taiju and everything, but it's only here that Hakai has died, Kazutora is in the hospital, Baji has died, everyone has died, except for Kazutora and Naoto. Because Naoto's a cop and he's hard to kill. Plus he has a gun at all times. But yeah, so he goes to the church, so meets Taiju and everything, they have the meeting, and when Inupi walks in to kill Taiju, because he's worried about to kill Naoto and Taiju, they didn't see Takemichi. When Inupi and Koko see Takemichi, they kind of froze, but mainly Inupi, as Inupi has the urge to bow, because as this is trying to respect Takemichi and his superior. But Koko stops him saying, "You don't need to bow to that trash." But as Koko had turned around to say that to Inupi, Koko was suddenly kneed right in the temple and knocked out. Takemichi immediately had pulled the knife right out of Koko's other hand and stabbed the guy behind him, saying, "All right, move." guy that he said falls over, and everyone else began retreating because that was insane speed that they couldn't even perceive. Inupi bowed, saying, "Sir, what should we do next?" And then Inupi says, "Also, there's 2 gunmen outside." Takemichi says, "Is Izuna one of them?" Then Inupi says, "No, Izuna's the one ordering it. Kisaki and Kakucho are the gunmen." Takemichi says, "Well, what side?" He points, saying they're in front right now, but they're probably gonna make the way to whatever side they hear the door open on. Takemichi looks at Taiju, saying, "See, this is fear and respect. You suck." Taiju decides, saying, "Screw that. We need a plane to leave." Takemichi says, "What about this?" He tells Taiju and Naoto to run to either exit, kick the doors open, and then run out the front. They agree, and they do just that, and that made Izuna, Kisaki, Kakucho think that they ran out. They each group around either side, but by the time they were able to make the side, they heard the front doors push open, and they ran away to Naoto's car. Taiju got in his car, and they all drove away. They're driving away, they hear gunshots, but Inupi, able to have his own gun, was firing back, actually hit Kakucho in the shoulder, and then hit Izuna in the leg. The only reason Izuna was hit is because Kisaki sneakily used him as a shield. But yeah. And then they make their way to Takemichi's penthouse, and they chill in there for a bit. Which, because Tora's hospital, we'll say that. They make their way there, and they chill in there. And they did get in a large fight in the hallway, because they did realize these guys were members of the Toman, and not friends. They beat the hell out of them. It wasn't even funny. The fight was over, and everything. But now with this, Takemichi would ask what they should do next, and that's when Naoto suggests they should all go to the past and stay there. Takemichi asks why, so then Naoto says, "This is why." First he says that I can't help you, and this is why. Pushes Takemichi out of the way with a gunshot, and he is shot right in the chest. Everyone shocked, as Naoto would say. I was the only one that saw a gunman under the roof. He puts up blood, and he started being low conscious, by the way. He's a little nervous, so he slides out of bed, but then grabs Naoto's hand, and Takemichi's hands, puts them together. It's a handshake, puts his hand on top. That's at least 2 people. Then, boom, future. Future's gone. So future's gone, back in the past, and now Takemichi's actually pretty upset. And when he returns, Hina and him were hanging out, and Hina asks Takemichi, did he just quote-unquote wake up? He nods, as Hina then asks why is he still here? Or why did he come back? He goes everything that happened, and Hina then asks Takemichi to tell her a few stories, just about what he's done in the past. Well, not in the past, but what he's done in the future, because she's not interested now. So everything, she's more or less blushing heavily, as she ignored everything up when Takemichi said, I did say earlier that Hina and Takemichi did get quote-unquote busy, and she was blushing past that. And Hina kind of blushed, tugging Takemichi's collar, asking, can they try it now? Takemichi being 14, says he's 14 and says they cannot do that. He's not obligated to do that. And it'd be weird because he's technically 26 and 14-year-old body. So he says no. Hina that she just kisses him and had grabbed his area, but says she'll do that. She'll do this at least. Takemichi just blushes and says, alright, well, something bad just happened. He's gonna meet up with his friends. He walks out as Hina says goodbye. And yeah. Now, eventually, Payon did go to the hospital because when he was hit in the back, it was a pretty bad bruise. They even bruised some bones. Payon's in the hospital, but the meeting is called, and Payon is allowed to go. So, he goes to the meeting. It is announced that Smiley and Hakai were attacked. Now, Mitsuya, Hakai. Hakai was mainly attacked by Hanma, because Hanma was like, well, he's one of the heavy hitters, so I'll destroy him. So, yeah. Now, as what was it? So, as they announce this, Takemichi then says that Toman and Black Dragon should be one gang from here on out, because they're not going to be a gang for much longer. They see the point in that, so alright then, what should the gang name be called? Toman and Black Dragons. I'm find a name for that, actually. So, yeah, I've decided on 2 names, which are the Dragon Warriors and Shinjuku Dragons, but I'm going with the Shinjuku Dragons. So, they agree with that name, and yeah, Takemichi and Mikey are the 2 leaders. There's Draken Draken, Baji. So Draken, Baji, Pachin, and Smiley. Those are the four leaders, four sub leaders of Toman. And then we have the four admirals. Those are by dragons, being Akai, not Kai Taiju, Akai, Chifuyu, Kazutora, and Peion. So those are the eight leaders, and then the eight vice. So none of the eight admirals. I can just suggest that, and Mikey agrees with that. Angry is kind of just like the lead, like one of the generals, and then the admirals, and then the two fleet admirals. Now, eventually, I'm going to skip over everything to the War of Tenjiku, because I'm going to go over that. War with Tenjiku. So, with the War in Tenjiku, every time they go to the meeting spot. Every time they go to the meeting spot, they're kind of waiting there for Tenjiku to arrive. When Tenjiku arrives, they arrive with greater numbers. They had gathered up the remnants of Valhalla that didn't join Toman, and the remnants of Mobius, and included Osanai, who was arrested, but they bailed him out. So yeah, now we have Mochizuki, who no one remembered him for the Valhalla incident, so yeah. But now he's actually just planning to kill Takemichi because he wants to. So now Takemichi would be their representative, but then as he steps up, suddenly Izuna would rush at him, going to punch him in the face, which leads to him. He's able to see he's able to see in the future, see Izuna running to punch him. So suddenly, as Izuna would make the crowd, Takemichi already appeared right next to him, kneeing him in the gut. Then elbows Izuna in the back of the head, and then throws him over to Mikey. As he lands, Izuna coughs up a bit until Mikey throws him up. Lifts him up, saying, "All right, me and you, let's go." Izuna was confused on how Takemichi was able to see him, but that's when he and fighting Mikey just kind of trying to disregard it. But due to him being kind of dazed by Takemichi, he's able to get the hell beat out of him by Mikey. He's knocked punched by Kakucho. Izuna's knocked punched by Mikey as Kakucho watched, and Kakucho then had to fight Draken. But with this, that's when Kakucho says that he's the right hand man of Izuna. So Draken says, "Oh, then we are the right hand men of Takemichi and Mikey." Then Kakucho says, "Wait, there's multiple of you." When suddenly he's surrounded by the 8 admirals, and they gang up on him. Kakucho's been beaten unconscious in a matter of 1 minute, and then the admirals just say that they'll handle everything from here. But Takemichi says he's actually a little bit in the middle of a fight, as Mochi and him are fighting, and he's not matching Mochi's strength, but he's faster than Mochi. This fight actually seems equal for once, and Takemichi is not even using his ability to see a bit in the future, and Mochi's going blow for blow. But when Takemichi lands a hiding blow, as Mochi had taken a very risky stance, which led Takemichi kicking his leg out from under him. With that, Takemichi elbow drops him right in the nose, and proceeds to beat the hell out of him until his fists are covered in blood. As he stands up, walks away, saying, "All right, you 8 can handle it from here." All Toman begins walking away. Well, not all Toman, all of the Shinjuku dragons begin walking away for the 8 admirals, which begin to pummel every single member of Tenjiku, including the Hatani brothers who tried to escape, but they couldn't. They leave with no one being arrested or killed. Kisaki was lying in a puddle of his own blood again, as he's gone to the hospital for a broken nose and jaw. But he tried to fight still, wearing a mask, but that didn't work, as he was just beaten up again. And yeah. Hamno was actually beaten up by Peion and Draken. Peion was able to hold him in place when he was caught off guard by Draken's punch. Peion held him in place, and then Draken began wailing on Hanma. So yeah, after that fight ends, and this part here. This would end the war of the best delinquents, with Takemichi Hanagaki being one of the MVPs. For actually being able to weaken the leader enough for Mikey to take him out, and also took down one of the stronger kings of Tenjiku. So yeah, he's an MVP for those two big feats, and Hanagaki would go down as one of the best delinquents in Japan history. There'll be the next part, but we're going to do this part. Goodbye.